world outside is in turmoil. The winds are wild, rain lashes down, the trees sway violently, and everything seems to be unraveling. Yet inside, a single candle glows with quiet steadiness. That's the mental state we should all aim for, a still mind, unshaken by external chaos. But most of us don't live like that. A traffic jam can ruin our mood. A rude comment lingers in our head. Tiny triggers cause us to spiral, and suddenly the day feels lost. The Stoics of old knew something modern research is only beginning to prove. Your mind is a muscle. And just like your body, it can be strengthened, steadied, and trained to withstand pressure. Marcus Aurelius, emperor during one of Rome's hardest eras, wrote in his journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Let that sink in. The ruler of the ancient world wasn't focused on controlling armies or territory. His deepest insight was about mastering his thoughts. He knew what we often ignore. The real war is not out there, it's inside your own head. What I'm about to show you isn't theory. It's not just motivational quotes to make you feel good for 5 minutes. These are tested tools that have guided people for thousands of years toward true and lasting peace. Not the kind that disappears when things go wrong, but the real kind. The peace that comes from understanding how your thoughts actually work. People often confuse calm with a life free from problems. But that's not calm, that's just luck. True tranquility means staying steady when trouble arrives. It means staying grounded while everything shifts. It means being the still center in a spinning storm. This isn't about burying emotions or pretending things are fine when they're not. It's about building the mental toughness to face life without collapsing under it. You build a mind that can take whatever life gives, not because you're dodging difficulty, but because you've learned to stand tall in the middle of it. Before we begin, hit the like button, leave a comment, and share this video with someone who needs it. Subscribe if you're ready to become emotionally strong and mentally steady. And don't skip a second of this message. Every line counts. Type this in the comments. My mind is calmer than the chaos around me. Let's strengthen our minds together. Principle 1. Shape a mind that doesn't rely on ease to feel okay. Life never hands you a perfect day where everything runs smoothly. Never. And the sooner you accept this, the sooner you can create genuine peace inside. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control the uncontrollable, needing the boss to be nice, the kids to behave, the partner to always agree, and their schedule to work out without a hitch. But when life doesn't follow that script, which is often, they fall apart. Epictetus, once enslaved and later a great teacher, said something bold. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that defines your experience. For him, this wasn't just philosophy, it was survival. He found serenity despite having zero control over the outside world. When's the last time you truly felt overwhelmed? Chances are it wasn't a disaster. It was something minor. A wrong coffee order, unexpected traffic, a slow reply, a glitchy phone. And because you'd mentally decided everything needed to go perfectly, those small things took you out of balance. But what if your peace didn't depend on things going right? What if you could stay centered even when the day went sideways? This doesn't mean you stop striving for great things. It means you stop linking your inner calm to outside perfection. The Stoics used a mental practice called negative visualization. They'd imagine losing the things they valued, their homes, health, wealth, even loved ones, not because they were grim, but because they wanted to be ready for anything and not fall apart if the worst happened. This practice made their inner peace independent from their surroundings. You can start small. Next time something minor goes wrong, your charger breaks, your shirt stains, someone cuts you off, don't explode. Use that moment as training. Ask yourself, can I stay steady despite this? Not pretending it's good, just asking, can I stay stable? That's the mindset of a trained mind. Work on this with little frustrations. Stay cool when plans shift. Remain calm when someone lets you down. Breathe through it when tech fails you. Every time you choose composure over chaos, you build mental resilience for the bigger storms. This doesn't mean becoming numb or not caring. You can still have goals, preferences, dreams. You're just no longer dependent on the world behaving perfectly. When you develop a mind that doesn't demand ease to be okay, you gain something rare, true freedom. You're free from needing to control everything, free from the stress of hoping the world lines up just right, free to act from power, not panic. This is where calm begins. In knowing your peace isn't from what happens, but from how you choose to respond. Type this affirmation in the comments. My peace is not tied to perfection. Principle 2. Don't believe everything your mind tells you. Your thoughts are not always your allies. That may sound intense, but it's actually one of the most freeing truths you can realize. Your brain produces around 60,000 thoughts every single day, and most of them are junk. They repeat themselves, dwell on the negative, spiral into irrational loops, and keep you stuck in stress and fear. Marcus Aurelius, one of Stoicism's wisest voices, understood this well. In his personal reflections, he wrote about how peaceful it is to stop worrying about what others are saying or doing, and instead focus only on your own conduct. He knew that our minds love to stir up problems, many of which don't even exist. Right now, your brain might be running through worst-case scenarios, replaying embarrassing memories, and constructing fake narratives about what others think of you. It's likely whispering that you're not good enough, that something terrible is looming, or that you're failing in invisible ways. But none of that is necessarily real. It's just your brain doing its job, scanning for danger, trying to prepare for the worst. Like an overzealous security guard, it rings alarms constantly, even when there's no real threat. It wants to protect you, but it's clumsy and reactive. Here's the trap. Most people take every thought at face value. If the mind says, "They're judging me," we assume it's true. If it whispers, "Something bad is coming," we prepare for disaster. If it produces anxious loops, we assume they must mean something important. The Stoics broke free from this trap. They realized you are not your thoughts. You're the one watching those thoughts. There's a deeper part of you that can observe your mental chatter without being sucked into it. Try this now. Take 30 seconds to simply observe your thinking. Don't change anything, just watch. You'll notice your mind jumping from errands to regrets, to ideas to doubts. It hops around like a hyperchild. This small act of observation shifts everything. Once you realize you can witness your thoughts, you understand you don't have to obey them. Thoughts can flow past like clouds across the sky. Some are useful, most are just noise. The Stoics had a technique called objective representation. Instead of dramatizing events, they described them plainly. Rather than thinking, "My boss hates me and I'm doomed," they'd reduce it to, "My supervisor gave me feedback." See the difference? One version pulls you into anxiety. The other gives you clarity. Same event, different framing. Start applying this right now. When your mind creates a dramatic story, ask yourself, what are the plain facts? Strip away the emotional spin and get to the reality. You'll be shocked how often your stress isn't rooted in fact, only in interpretation. Remember, having anxious thoughts doesn't mean you're an anxious person. Having angry thoughts doesn't make you aggressive. Having fearful thoughts doesn't mean something bad is coming. These are passing mental impulses. You get to decide which ones you follow and which ones you ignore. The moment you stop blindly believing your thoughts, you regain control. You stop being a puppet, pulled by every worry, fear, or doubt. You become the director of your inner life, no longer a bystander to your brain's randomness. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I am not my thoughts. I choose which ones to trust. Principle 3. Quiet your thoughts. Calm your existence. We live in an age obsessed with speed, faster replies, quicker results, instant gratification. But no one talks about the hidden cost. The faster you're thinking, the more overwhelmed and anxious you become. A racing mind isn't a badge of honor. It's a symptom of inner disorder. The ancient Stoics understood a crucial truth that modern life often ignores. The speed of your thoughts influences the peace in your life. Seneca, a man who advised emperors and managed immense responsibility, once wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." He recognized that constantly rushing robs us of the wisdom hidden in the present moment. Think back to a time when you felt grounded and truly at ease. Odds are, your mind wasn't darting from one thing to another. You weren't juggling a dozen concerns. You were rooted in the now, fully engaged, mentally calm, emotionally still. But most of us have trained our brains to act like spinning wheels. We wake up already multitasking, thinking about work while brushing our teeth, planning emails while walking to the car, stressing about next week while eating breakfast. We've convinced ourselves this makes us productive. But what it really does is fracture our attention and flood us with stress. Just like your body, your mind needs rest. It needs space. It needs silence. Without mental recovery, your nervous system stays trapped in overdrive. That's why true calm feels out of reach, because your mental engine never downshifts. The Stoics practiced something they called prohairesis, the art of intentional attention. They trained themselves to fully engage with one thing at a time. To them, presence wasn't abstract. It was a real tool for stability. You can practice this starting today. Choose one daily habit you usually rush: sipping coffee, walking, cleaning. For the next week, do that one thing at half your usual speed. Really notice it. Bring all your awareness to the task. Don't let your mind sprint ahead. At first, you'll feel uneasy. Your brain will protest. It will say you're wasting time. That's normal. Your mind has been addicted to speed for years. But as you slow down, something shifts. You begin to see. You hear your thoughts more clearly. You catch emotions before they spin out. You move from reacting to responding. Another Stoic strategy was to use breath as an anchor. When Marcus Aurelius noticed his thoughts racing, he'd return to his breath. Not as a meditation trick, but as a way to stabilize his mind in real time. Breath is perfectly paced for stillness. Not too fast, not too slow, always there. Try this right now. Inhale deeply and count to 5. Exhale slowly and count again. Do that 5 times. Notice how it slows your mental tempo. That's not magic. It's your body telling your brain, we're safe, there's no emergency. Slowing your thinking doesn't make you lazy. It makes you deliberate. You make better decisions, catch mistakes before they snowball, and feel more satisfied with your effort. You don't do less, you do better. Most importantly, slowing your mind creates the space where real calm can grow. Not artificial peace, but the kind that rises from presence and intentionality. Type this in the comments. I slow down to reclaim my peace. Principle 4. Embrace failure without losing yourself. Here's something school rarely teaches you. How you deal with failure shapes your entire life. Not your wins, not your talents, not your good fortune. It's how you respond when things don't go your way that defines your growth. And most people, sadly, have a destructive relationship with failure. From a young age, we're trained to fear it, to see it as proof that we're not good enough, to avoid it, hide it, or be ashamed of it. But the ancient Stoics saw it differently. They didn't view failure as defeat. They saw it as information, valuable feedback, a mirror that reveals what we need to learn. Epictetus, once a slave and later one of the greatest Stoic minds, said, "No one can learn what they think they already know." To him, failure was a teacher, not an enemy. Without it, we stay trapped in comfortable delusions. With it, we're forced to face the truth and evolve. Think about a toddler learning to walk. They fall constantly. Do they decide they're not made for walking? Of course not. Falling is part of the process. But as adults, we forget this. We fail once and decide we're broken. We experience one bad relationship and think we're unlovable. We struggle in one job and assume we're incompetent. The real issue isn't the fall, it's how we interpret the fall. One misstep becomes a sweeping judgment about our worth. But what if failure isn't personal? What if it's just data? A signal showing us what didn't work, so we can make a better choice next time. The Stoics knew this. Setbacks carry wisdom, but only for those willing to extract it. So how do you shift your relationship with failure? Here are 3 questions to ask the next time something goes wrong. First, what specific lesson can I learn here? Not vague guilt, but clear, actionable insight. Second, if a close friend experienced this, what would I tell them? Often you'd be kinder to others than you are to yourself. Third, how can I use this experience to grow stronger, not smaller? Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, war, illness, and loss, but he trained himself to see obstacles as fuel. He wrote, "The obstacle to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He wasn't denying hardship, he was transforming it. This isn't toxic positivity. This is grounded wisdom. Your character is sculpted through challenge, not comfort. Every time you rise from a setback with clarity instead of self-pity, you gain strength. Every time you bounce back, you prove to yourself you're more than your circumstances. Start small. Burn the dinner. Learn something about timing. Got turned down for a job. Identify the skill gap. Said the wrong thing in a conversation. Practice better communication. Each small stumble is a chance to strengthen your resilience. The most accomplished people in history failed often and fast. Their greatness didn't come from avoiding mistakes. It came from learning faster than they fell. They knew that failure doesn't define them, it refines them. When you can fail without collapsing, you become powerful. Not because you're immune to pain, but because pain doesn't control you. The Stoics called this the discipline of desire, the ability to embrace whatever happens, especially when it teaches you something essential. Never forget, every expert was once a beginner. Every strong person you admire has a trail of failures behind them. Your own missteps are not signs to stop, they're signs you're growing. Drop this in the comments. My failures are guides, not enemies. Principle 5. Guard your energy like it's sacred. You wake up each day with a limited amount of mental and emotional fuel, but most people burn through that supply carelessly, spending it on arguments, distractions, and noise. Then they wonder why they feel drained, scattered, or exhausted by midday. Your energy is not infinite. It's your most precious resource. And the ancient Stoics understood that protecting it is essential if you want to live with clarity and calm. Seneca, one of the wealthiest and most influential men of his time, was shockingly cautious with how he invested his energy. He once wrote, "It's not that life is short, it's that we waste much of it." He wasn't just talking about time, he was pointing to the attention and vitality we give away without thinking. Look at your daily life. How often do you spend your energy on things that don't move you forward? How much bandwidth do you pour into social media arguments, gossip, worry, mindless scrolling, or conversations that leave you depleted rather than enriched? Every time you dive into negativity, argue about something meaningless, or obsess over a problem you can't solve, you make a withdrawal from your energy account. And unlike money, you can't just earn more on demand. Rest is your only recharge. The Stoics practiced something called the discipline of action. It meant spending your energy only on what truly matters, what aligns with your values, and what's within your control. Everything else? Not your burden, not your responsibility, not your priority. This means you'll have to say no more often, especially to what we call energy leaks. People who constantly complain but never change. News cycles that flood your brain with fear. Triggers that keep you in a loop of overthinking. Some people drain you simply by always needing you, but never offering anything in return. But protecting your energy isn't just about blocking negativity. It's also about focusing on what restores you. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to stay grounded in the present. He knew that worrying about the future or replaying the past only steals energy from the only place we have real power, now. Here's a simple exercise. For 1 week, observe what energizes you and what depletes you. Write it down. Pay attention to which habits, people, and thoughts refill your tank, and which ones leave you mentally bankrupt. You'll be surprised. Common drains: doom scrolling the news, trying to control other people, multitasking all day, overcommitting, reacting instead of pausing, seeking approval. Common refills: walking outdoors, creating something meaningful. Solitude: deep, honest conversations, learning something new. Acts of kindness rooted in your values. The goal isn't to avoid all hard things. Some challenges are worth the effort because they align with who you want to become. But be intentional. Stop letting your energy bleed out without noticing. Set boundaries. Just like you wouldn't leave your wallet on the sidewalk, don't leave your energy unprotected. This might mean muting certain chats, turning off notifications, walking away from circular arguments, or scheduling time alone to reset. This isn't selfish, it's stewardship. When your own reserves are full, you're more capable of giving to the people and causes that matter most. Your energy fuels your thoughts, emotions, decisions, and responses. It shapes how you show up in the world. Guard it like the life force it is. Drop this in the comments. I honor my energy and protect it with intention. Principle 6. Let go of the need to always be right. Here's a truth that can transform your relationships and restore your peace of mind. Not every disagreement needs a winner. And more often than not, trying to win every argument only creates division, stress, and regret. Most people treat disagreements like battles. The goal becomes to prove a point, expose the other person's flaw, and walk away victorious. But the Stoics understood that the desire to always be right is often rooted in insecurity, not strength. Marcus Aurelius, a man with absolute power, could have forced anyone to agree with him. Yet, in his writings, he encouraged focusing on the good in others. He looked for understanding rather than fault. That wasn't weakness. That was wisdom and discipline. Think back to the last time you got into an argument. Were you really trying to solve a problem, or were you trying to protect your pride? Were you aiming for truth, or were you chasing validation? The reality is, many arguments aren't about logic or facts. They're emotional turf wars. Two people, both clinging to being seen as right, talking over each other instead of to each other. But here's the paradox. The more you fight to be right, the more you alienate the people around you. You stop connecting, you stop listening, and you start feeding a cycle of defensiveness. The Stoics taught a different way. They didn't enter conversations to dominate. They entered to learn. They listened with curiosity. They searched for common ground. They asked questions rather than delivering lectures. They didn't back down from the truth. They simply didn't confuse truth with ego. This doesn't mean becoming passive or suppressing your beliefs. It means choosing your battles carefully and responding from grounded confidence, not fragile pride. A secure person doesn't need constant confirmation. They can listen without getting defensive. They can respect a different view without crumbling. Here's a practice. The next time someone disagrees with you, don't jump to argue. Instead, pause and ask, what might they be seeing that I'm not? Say, help me understand your view better. These simple shifts can turn confrontation into collaboration. And sometimes you'll realize they're right. That's not defeat. That's growth. Other times, you'll both be partially right. And sometimes you'll uncover a deeper difference that can't be argued away. Epictetus reminded his students, if you are grounded in who you are, you won't need others to approve of you. When your identity isn't built on being right, you're free to connect without defending yourself. You're free to value the person more than the point. This is especially powerful in close relationships. Your loved ones aren't opponents to outwit. They're fellow travelers navigating life with you. Your partner, children, friends, they don't need to be corrected. They need to be heard. Before entering an argument, practice what the Stoics called the discipline of assent, the skill of checking your ego before you react. Ask yourself, is this discussion worth the tension? Will winning improve the situation? Am I seeking truth or just trying to feel superior? Often, the wisest response is, I see it differently, but I respect your view. That's not surrender, it's mastery. When you stop fighting to win, people feel safe with you. They open up, they listen more, and your words carry more weight because you're not forcing them, you're inviting them. The goal of communication isn't domination, it's connection, understanding, clarity, and sometimes collaboration. Drop this in the comments. I choose connection over control. Principle 7. Build your life from the core outward. This is where everything comes together, the root from which all calm, strength, and resilience grow. Most people go through life letting the world dictate how they feel inside. But the Stoics discovered a powerful truth. Unshakable peace comes when you live from the inside out, not the outside in. What does that mean? It means your mood, your confidence, your joy, and your inner stability come from your values, your character, your perspective. Not from outcomes, approval, or circumstances. It means you create your emotional climate rather than being at the mercy of life's changing weather. Epictetus once said, "No one can harm you without your permission." That wasn't denial, it was hard-earned clarity. As a former slave who found inner freedom, he learned to protect the one space no one could touch, his own mind. Living from the outside in looks like this. Your mood rises or crashes based on how others treat you. Your self-worth depends on praise or success. Your happiness requires everything to go right. You're constantly reacting to things beyond your control. Living from the inside out looks completely different. You remain grounded in your values. Even when people disappoint you, you know who you are, regardless of wins or losses. You feel gratitude even in imperfect moments. You respond thoughtfully, not reactively. You become consistent in a world that's always changing. This doesn't mean you don't care about the world or stop setting goals. You still pursue dreams, build relationships, and strive to grow. But your peace no longer hangs on any one outcome. You don't need things to go your way to stay composed. You'd like them to, but your calm isn't held hostage by them. Marcus Aurelius lived this principle daily. Despite ruling an empire, enduring war, betrayal, and grief, he reminded himself, very little is needed to live a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. His joy came not from power, but from perspective. Here's how to begin shifting your foundation. Each morning, take 5 minutes to connect with your internal compass. Reflect on your values. Breathe in gratitude. Remind yourself of who you want to be. Each night, review your actions. Did you live in alignment with your principles, or let the world steer you off course? And when something disrupts your day, because it will, ask, how can I respond to this in a way that honors who I want to become? Don't be a puppet pulled by events. Be the author of your reactions. Start creating your own scorecard, not based on applause or outcomes, but based on what you control. Did I act with integrity? Did I treat others with dignity? Did I stay patient in difficulty? Did I speak from clarity, not emotion? Did I learn from this day, no matter how it went? Eventually, you'll realize something profound. Everything you've been seeking out there, peace, strength, confidence, joy, was within you all along. Not something to chase, something to cultivate. This is the Stoic way. You're not a leaf tossed by the wind. You're the tree, rooted, growing, unwavering. The world may shift, but your center holds firm. When you start living from the inside out, you gain real freedom. Freedom from the pressure to control everything. Freedom from the emotional roller coaster of outside validation. Freedom to be your truest self in a world that constantly asks you to be someone else. Drop this in the comments. My power flows from within, not from what surrounds me. Conclusion: walk the Stoic path, moment by moment. You now hold 7 powerful tools, ancient, practical, and proven, that can completely shift how you experience challenge, chaos, and change. But knowing them isn't enough. The real transformation happens only through application. The Stoics never aimed to entertain with words, they aimed to live them. Philosophy without action, they believed, was just noise. These ideas aren't hacks or shortcuts, they're disciplines. They require consistency, humility, and courage. Some days, you'll embody them effortlessly. On others, you'll forget and react from old habits. That's okay. Growth isn't a straight line. It's a long, deliberate walk. Keep walking. Start with the one principle that resonated most deeply with you. Commit to practicing it for a full month. Let it shape your thinking, your decisions, your reactions. Once it becomes part of you, add the next one. You are literally reconditioning your brain to meet life differently. That's not instant work, but every moment you train your mind, you invest in your future peace. Remember, the Stoics didn't live easy lives. They endured plagues, exiles, betrayals, war, and grief. And yet, they found stillness, not in perfect conditions, but in their power to respond wisely to whatever came. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every day, the universe is change. Life is what our thoughts make it. And that's still true today. Your thoughts have created your experience of life up to this point. Starting now, you can begin reshaping those thoughts, not to avoid pain, but to meet it with strength. not to escape challenge, but to transform through it. You're not aiming to eliminate all difficulty. That's impossible. And it wouldn't be healthy even if it were. You're learning to greet every experience with clarity, courage, and calm. The Stoic path isn't the easiest road, but it's the most rewarding. Each time you choose calm instead of panic, awareness instead of automatic reaction, strength instead of dependence, you become more of who you were meant to be. Your journey toward unshakable composure begins not later, not when your life finally calms down, not when everyone understands you, not when everything clicks into place. It begins right now, with whatever you're facing, in this moment, this breath, this thought. If this message spoke to you, please hit the like button, share it with someone who needs this strength, and subscribe to this channel for more timeless tools for inner peace. Your future self will thank you for beginning today. And now, drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am cultivating unshakable calm from the inside out.